Welcome to the Your Limitless Leadership Podcast with Jenny and Brent Widman. Here, we believe leadership isn't just about titles. It's about how you show up in every aspect of life. Whether you're leading a business, building a legacy as an entrepreneur, guiding your family, or striving to lead yourself first, this podcast is for you. Join us as we dive into real conversations about growth, decision-making, and the courage it takes to lead with purpose. Get ready to be inspired, challenged, and equipped to become the limitless leader you are meant to be. This is Your Limitless Leadership Podcast. Let's lead without limits. All right. Welcome to Your Limitless Coach, Your Limitless Podcast. I am your co-host, Mr. Brent Widman, along with your other co-host, Mrs. Jenny Widman. And today, you've heard me introduce Jenny before. She is one of the things that come out of her mouth at times that are leadership based. I just sit here and I'm in awe at times on how she says it and what she says and how she holds people accountable to the leaders that they want to be and the people they want to be. So it's always a pleasure for me to talk about things with her because I know how much I learned from it. And if you don't know Jenny, she has, 15 to 20 years plus in leadership. She's one of the best recruiters, best developers I have ever met in my life. So it's cool to get to do these at least 2 to 3 times a month with her. But I would encourage you to listen to this. Today we're going to talk about, there's so much around, and I'll turn it over to Jenny here in a bit, but there's so much around time management when it comes to leaders. But we know that we can't manage time. Time's going to tick whether we like it or not. That clock's going to tick. But what we can manage is we can manage ourselves. So that's part of what we're going to talk about today is our self-management. And I'm going to turn it over to her if she wants to say anything right off the bat or anything that she wants to talk about self-management. But the first question I would love her to go over is what is the one thing that she sees all leaders need help with when it comes to self-management or that sticks out to them or what they need reinforcement on, what have you. But I'm going to turn it over to you, lady, to let you.
Thanks, Brent. Yeah. I love the paradigm shift of going from time management to self-management because we can't manage time. Time's ticking, whether we like it or not. And we all have the same amount of time in the day. And it's just what we're doing with ourselves during that time. And to answer your question, the number one thing that I seem to help people with every single coaching call or just client that we get at one point is for people to truly know what your time is worth. Because if you truly knew what your time is worth, you would not be doing some of the things that you are doing during your day. There's no doubt in my mind. And as much as we'd like to say, oh yeah, I know what my time's worth. My time's worth $2,500 an hour. Okay, great. Do you remember that throughout the day? Do you have reminders of that throughout your day? Because even some of the most successful people that I know, and I quote successful because it could be the people that are making the most money, but they spend more than they actually make, it's that aspect of throughout the day, do you have constant reminders or something that's in front of you that shows you right then and there, you are worth X amount. And if you're doing an activity that is not that amount, then what are you doing? You are not capitalizing or optimizing yourself at your fullest potential. Because at the end of the day, those activities that you're doing that we could get support on and help on, maybe it's a business coordinator, maybe it's an executive assistant, maybe it's a marketing person, maybe it's just a part-time intern. But if you can at least get tasks that are worth $30 or less an hour and offload those to your $2,000 an hour, I would be very excited to see what you accomplish this next year, because you're truly optimizing what you're good at, what you want to be doing, and going from there. But I see so many times, Brent, so many leaders that I work with, they tell me about their day, and I'm like, wait, what did you just say? What did you do for 2 hours? And I'm mind blown by some of it. So
Can you give me, because that's based off what you just said, and I'm going to give you a second to think of this, but what are some examples that these leaders, these top level leaders are doing that we know that they shouldn't be doing? They're doing almost 15, 20, $25 an hour tasks when they're obviously making X amount, way more than that. But what are some of the examples, or do you have any that you could say, this is the stuff we need to get away from, or trust in the people around us? And we'll come back to delegation. So I'm not going to dig into that deep right now, but what are some of the things that they're doing?
The number one thing that I hear is the open door policy.
Ooh.
And I see benefits of the open door policy at times, but there should also be a time block in your calendar that you allow an open door policy if you actually allow that in the first place. The types of questions that I am hearing from an open door policy is what irritates me when they tell me about what their people are bringing them. And so the solution to that we always talk about is just how to create more problem solvers on your team instead of problem givers. And when you can create these problem solvers, they will think twice. They'll be like, okay, I'm not going to go and ask Jenny this because Jenny's just going to tell me to go look here, or go see this here, or let me go do my due diligence before I bring this to Jenny because she's not going to answer this anyway. Or if it's actually an urgent matter where Jenny needs to be involved, those are the times I want my people to come to me. Those are the times that I would encourage that, because I can help them either save the sale or put out a fire or whatever the situation is. But if it's just this time wasters that they are coming to you with questions that you know they can find here, there, and everywhere, those are the things that I would say you need to put parameters on. You need to not have that open door policy. You need to teach them how to be a problem solver. I always say, are you enabling your people or are you empowering your people? And the minute that you answer their questions, you are enabling them every step of the way. And we need to start empowering just like we would with our kids.
Well, here's the other concept behind that too. What you're actually doing when you're not having the open door policy all the time is you're developing the concept. You're developing them is what you're doing. Now they're understanding that I'm becoming a leader because I'm problem solving. I'm figuring this out. I'm going to the next thing. And when she says open door, that doesn't just mean that they're in the office. That can be an email, text message that you answer right away. It could be that they're popping into your office, stealing your time when you're in the middle of something. And then it takes the adage of 10 to 15 minutes to get back to what you were supposed to be doing. So you're not just losing what's in the moment, but you're also not developing your people because you're doing the thing for them. You become their crutch. And when we can stop becoming that crutch, now watch what starts to happen to the efficiency for you and the efficiency of the office and the efficiency of all your people that you have that are now developing. And the culture starts to create as well, because now you have a culture of doers instead of help meers, or whatever you want to call them, I guess, put it that way. But yeah, that's a big
awesome
part of it. But we feel like delegation is a bad thing. Like I'm telling somebody to do something, and it's not. If we shift the mindset on that, and actually it's developing those people around us, that's leadership, man. Watch what starts to happen when you do that. So I go back to, it's funny you talk about developing it and reminders and what have you, but I've told this story before. I don't think I ever told it on here, but I went so far as to buy a mat on Etsy that I hung in the corner of my office that said focus, because there were so many times that I would lose focus, whether it's email or text or whatever it is. And I couldn't stay on task when I was asked to do something or I needed to do something. So when you talked about setting yourself reminders of what even something that small helped me stay on the things that I needed to do. So I was managing myself instead of managing time is what I was doing. But I had to do something because I'm, shiny thing, which so many of us are. There's people that are really focused and people that look at the shiny thing, and I'm a shiny thing, but I had to remind myself, basically, is what it came down to. So,
I mean, it can be really simple things. Like if you're
yeah.
listening to this and you have your emails that has the red circle and the dings and all the things that are happening with your emails that get us distracted, like you can turn that off. It's like little things that our mind just wanders. We go off on tangents. Even if you have to go to the bathroom, it's like in between each task, just go so that you're not halfway through an email and having to go to the bathroom. It's just things that we can manage ourselves better so that we stay in more efficient mindset at the end of the day.
It's funny you say that. We're talking about something as trivial as like your email. And when we use Outlook, so many of us have that pop-up window that goes off, and that's just self-management, is knowing that when that goes off, what do? We look at our email and then we do these other things. Shut it off. It's hard. I get it. It's hard right away, but shut it off. Or your phone. I was taught this way back, to look at the banners that come across, whether they are text messages, ESPN, Yahoo, Fantasy, Facebook, LinkedIn. I mean, you think about the dings that come up all day, every day. And when we shut these off, you will find peace. I promise you
Yes.
that. But that is self-management. That's all it comes down to. And I know there's people listening to this going, well, I can't do that. What if I miss this? Or what if they need something from me? I tell the story like this. If you are a leader or you're a salesperson and you're sitting in front of somebody that is, let's call it a billionaire, and you're at lunch with them for an hour, I would bet you good money that you are going to shut your phone off. You're not going to answer emails and text messages and all those different things. So we know that you can do it when you're sitting in front of somebody who's an uber important client, or somebody that you want to become a client or a recruit or an employee or whatever it is. Yet when we're at our desk, we allow ourselves to do it. So that is up to us to change that. It's really that simple. It's just a different way to look at things, instead of thinking that I have to do it in the moment because that thing just popped up, so now I have to. So That's really just creating boundaries is all it comes down to. But it's those non-negotiable routines that come with it.
And I know this sounds so trivial, but I think it's important to share. Just going back to what your time is worth, redo the exercise. I've talked to a lot of people that have done the exercise before, but it's been a year or 5 years. And it's like, no, get a new number. And it's really simple to do. All you have to do is this next year, ask yourself, what do you want to make? What is realistic, but a high goal of what you want to make? Let's say it's $500,000. Perfect. Divide that number by 11 months. Why? Because we don't work 12 months out of the year. We have holidays, we have vacations, we have sick days. You don't work 12 months a year. Divide it by 11. Divide that by 5 days a week. Then divide that by the number of hours that you actually work a day. And I'm not saying that you work 10 hours a day or 8 hours a day. There's no one on here that's listening that actually does that. I'm not talking about driving. I'm not talking about emails or scrolling your phone or texting your wife or any of that stuff. I'm saying time that you actually spend that's productive, efficient work hours. I would say it's probably 5 to 6 hours for every single person. divide it by 5 or 6, and that is the number that you post on your computer, on your laptop, in your phone, as your screensaver. And just ask yourself, if that number is not worth the activity that you're doing in that moment or moments throughout your day, start making a list of those things that you can delegate. And delegation is not a thing that just is over the night. Here's 7 things for you to do to your assistant. It's one thing at a time. And you need to prioritize the delegation list. And it's a process. It doesn't happen overnight. It can take months to actually delegate all of this stuff off of your list. But at least you're starting somewhere of all the things that you potentially know you need to hire someone for, or you need to give somebody else. But do that exercise right now. Stop this recording and just do it, and have that number in front of you so that you can start managing yourself more.
I love that you said that, because that also goes into, now we're not going to get into goals and all that kind of stuff, but let's say it is the 500,000 or 400 or a million or whatever it is for you, doesn't matter. If what you are doing on a daily basis is not leading you to that, ask yourself, is this the best use of my time? Should I be doing it? And then what we need to do is we need to calendar, we need to schedule with a purpose. Be intentional about what you are doing, the thing that leads you to the thing. If you are not, I'm going to be straight up. If you're not doing that, you're not committed to it. You're just not. It sounds good and you want to do it and it feels good when you say it out loud, but are you actually committed to it? Because everything we say yes to, we're saying no to something else. So if I say yes to being busy, checking my email, my phone, whatever it is, and one of my goals was making X amount or spend an X amount of time with my family, and now at night or my end of my day seeps into that, well, I'm saying no to my family because I said yes to check an email when I shouldn't have been checking email. That's all it comes down to. That is up to us. And that's what I mean by calendaring with purpose. When you look at your day, and this is self-management, here's another tidbit for you. The first thing that you should do when you come into work in the morning is look at your calendar hour by hour, day by day, whatever it is, and schedule the things that you need to do. You should have done it the day before, but if you didn't, do it the morning of. Have your Brent time or your Jenny time, and make sure you are efficient about are you going to get thrown off track? Absolutely. At times it's going to happen, but now you're controlling it instead of somebody else controlling it. I literally just got off a call and the guy said, I come in, I get there about 7:15 because 7:15 to 8:45 is my time. And then at 9:00, my day just goes to, ugh. Now, we haven't gotten to that yet because we had a lot of other things to tackle, but that's one of the things that you look at and go, if your day's getting away from you by 9:00 in the morning, something's going on there. Okay. That's something we need to figure out. So it starts with your goals. And if it does not lead to the goals that you want to achieve, is it for you? It's that simple.
And a tool that can help you, because you guys hear me talk about this all the time, but the first step in anything is awareness. The second step is acceptance, but we can't accept it until we become aware of it. And so we have this tool we call the time tracker, and you take 2 weeks, 10 days, and just track what you're doing from the activities, the minute that you wake up to the minute that you go to bed. Do it in like 2 to 3 hour increments and just put it on the time tracker, and don't do anything with it. Don't judge yourself. Don't think badly about yourself. Literally, it's just information that you can use to start prioritizing. Because the next step after you have a good glimpse of 10 days, we can go in there and we can highlight. We can highlight the green, which is the money making, what your job is worth, that $2,500 an hour that you're worth, all the green tasks that you're doing. We can see the orange that you're doing that you don't need to be doing. And then we can see the red that is like definitely not part of your life or should be part of your life. And it's really easy to then prioritize and delegate from there. But until you're aware of actually what's going on, like I had this one client, Josh, he did a time tracker and he realized he wasted 10 hours a week on stuff, just scrolling, just getting, off, daydreaming. That's what I was thinking of. Just, things that were not money making or leading or who he wanted to be, leaving the legacy he wanted to live. And we were able to find 10 hours back. So, it's not a bad thing. It's a great thing. It's becoming aware of what's actually happening in the first place.
I mean, make it this simple too. If we want to make 500,000 a year, I'm just going to put a dollar amount on, or 500,000. You put a dollar amount on that on a given week or what have you. An hour, we're probably making what, $250 to $300 an hour, give or take. So if he's losing 10 hours a week, okay, if he's losing 10 hours a week, now he's at $3,000 a week. Okay. Now we're at $36,000. Nope, $12,000 a month. We're at $144,000 a year. My question to you is, when you get off this call or when you get off this podcast, if I asked you to do a time tracker, let's call it 3 days, 5 days, 3 weeks, whatever you want to do to track your time, and at the end of that time, I gave you $144,000, would you do it? I'm going to guess the answer is yes. That's the power of knowing where your time is going and what you need to do. Audit what you consume. And what I mean by that is there social media? How much of it? I get that maybe for a lot of you, you have to do some of this. I understand that. We catch ourselves scrolling. Audit your emails. Can somebody else help you with that? Now, maybe you're not in the place to have that yet, but maybe you are, but you're still stuck in it. Audit the calls that you're making or what you're not asking for, what you should be asking for, who you're working with. Like all these different things is what this is going to teach you, is exactly what you're doing. And again, like Jenny said, it's not to get you in trouble or to make you feel bad. If you truly want to hit the goals that you want to hit, you will audit what you are doing on a daily basis. If you don't, you won't. It is really that simple. I don't know how else to say it, but it's part of knowing how to self-manage yourself. There's no secret to what your elite performers do differently than everybody else. It really just comes down to they know what they're doing with their time and they know where it goes and they know who they're spending it with, is really what it comes down to. Yeah. I don't know. It's crazy when you really think about it. This is such a thing for me. Go ahead. You're going to say something.
Well, it's like we were trained up until we were 18 to be extremely scheduled. Like, go back to middle school and high school. It was, you had hour block classes, 45-minute classes. You had the bell. You had 5 minutes to get to your next class. You had lunch, you had recess, you had sports after school, you had extracurricular activities, it was so structured up until 5, 6, 7 o'clock at night. It was dinner, it was homework, it was bedtime. It was the most routine you've ever been in your life. And then you go from that to college. In college, you have 4 classes, maybe 5, and that is it. You have nothing else except for maybe a part-time job, friends, maybe sorority or fraternity stuff, like you have 4 things to schedule and do and nothing else. You're sleeping in, you're going out, you're doing these things. We leave college, we go to work, and then we're just not structured. We're not like high school we try to be like college and put some things in our calendar and then just have all this white space and ask ourselves, okay, I guess I need to recruit. Okay, I guess I need to sell something. Okay, I should prospect now. And there's no routine to it. And so it's just, I would ask you, how can you get yourself back to that high school schedule? And I'm not saying you have to be regimented. I'm not saying every 45 minutes you need to do something and every 45 minutes you take a 5-minute break. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying take that concept and create something that's going to work for you. You talk about batching a lot, Brent. Talk about batching and what that could do in terms of what you're putting into your calendar.
Well, I think I'm going to touch on a couple things you just said. Like, let's take recruiting or sales activities or what have you. Let me ask you this. When something's scheduled, so let's call it batching, I'm supposed to dial from 9 to 10 in the morning. And I have my list of 20 people there, have it on a sheet of paper, or just a Word doc or whatever it is. And I'm just going down the list. I'm taking the thinking out of the equation. I don't have to worry about it. It's just something that I'm doing. Now that call reluctance is no longer there because you're just doing the thing. You're taking the emotion out of the equation, which is what gets us. And checking your text messages is an emotional response. That's all it is. I want to see who's thinking about me. And same thing with email. Your email is an emotional response. And when we take that out of the equation and just make things logical, I'm not saying all the time, but at times, that's batching. That's going to take the thinking out of the equation. We want to be smart enough to be dumb enough not to have to think about these things. And what happens so many times is, I wrote this down as you were talking as well, that we start and stop and start and stop and start and stop, and we wonder why we can't get to where we want to go. So think about it this way. What time do most of us get to work in the morning? 8:30, give or take now? Call it what it is. What's the first thing we do when we get to work? Check emails, check voicemails, probably return those emails and voicemails, get up and tell somebody about those emails and voicemails, go get our water, get our coffee, talk to somebody. By that time, it might be what? 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning. And then we check our emails and voicemails again because we haven't been at our desk for a while, check our text messages. Now it's what? 10:30, 11 o'clock, but we know we have that appointment to go to at 11:30. So we don't want to start too much. We just start pushing some things around a little bit. So now we go to our appointment at 11:30. We don't get back till about 1:30 because Jenny's a little more long-winded than she typically is. And what do we do when we get back? We check emails and voicemails. And by that time, it's 1:30, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And what have we really accomplished? Not a whole lot, but we've been busy. That is why the concept of blocking, tackling, batching, whatever you want to call it, makes you so much more efficient and so much more successful. It's like I'm almost pleading with you to do some of this. And like Jenny said, you're not going to change your whole world today, but we can change it step by step. And once we start creating this muscle of doing it, that's where things start to develop. That's where you start to make the money you want to make, have the life you want to have, maybe get the promotion that you want to get. Maybe it's those other people that you're leading. They're starting to watch you and they're seeing what you do and they want to know how to do it. So instead of telling them, we're actually showing them how to do things. And that's where the change starts to happen. That's what we mean by actually putting the things on your calendar. Now, you're going to get thrown off track at times. I understand that, but stop giving yourself permission to not do the things that you should be doing. And that's where so many of us fall behind. I don't know. I don't know how else to say that. It's like, I wish I could sit beside you. Like, think of Brent or Jenny sitting beside you. I used to do this all the time. And I would have my leaders sitting behind me. Now, they weren't really there, obviously, but I was asking myself, would they be proud of what I'm doing? And even as a coach or as a leader, if I'm your guy, would you think, man, that guy's got it together? Or would you sit there and think, that's my coach? That's integrity, man. Is all it comes down to. If I'm not doing it, how am I going to ask you to do it? But how many of you as leaders are asking your people or your teams to do things that you aren't doing yourself? Show them. Don't tell them. That's my rant.
Well, you just struck a chord, because that's exactly what gives coaches a bad name. It's like they're just sitting with their playbook that they used to do, and it's so frustrating. But one thing that I do pride ourselves in is just we are true practitioners of everything that we're preaching here. And the reason you get so fired up, Brent, is because you are the most self-managed, disciplined human being I've ever met in my life. And so that's why I wanted you to go on a rant, because, as much as you are humble enough to know that you can always be more focused, you're in your office by 7:59. You shut off at 5 o'clock. You do the deal, make the phone calls, and you're structured AF. So it's good, So I'm glad
I
you went
think
on.
that's the power of it, because you can speak to it. I mean, the amount of people and the leaders that we work with, and I wholeheartedly believe that. So take the humble out of the equation for a second. I'm going to show you, we will show you how to do these things. We're not reading, I mean, obviously we read books and all those things to invest in our knowledge and what have you. You can read all the books in the world, you can listen to all the podcasts in the world, you can listen to this one. But if you don't implement, and maybe that's the key phrase in all of this, if you don't implement the things that you listen to, you're just hovering anyway. Take the things that you need to take and start implementing these things, and then build. That's your foundation that we build upon it, and watch what starts to happen in your life and your business. It's really pretty simple when it comes down to it, that this stuff is not that hard. It really isn't. And this is what the great ones do. They're very structured, they're very calendared, scheduled. They know what they need to do. They try to take the thinking out of it. They don't want to make too many big decisions during the day. I had somebody tell me the other day that they bought 3 white shirts, 4 white shirts, whatever the heck it was, because that's what they're going to wear every day, with 4 different ties, just because it takes the thinking out of the equation. It's simple stuff, man, is really all it is. So I don't know. We've talked about this, but you look at our calendars. I mean, like Jenny talks about how disciplined I am. I literally get up at 5 every day. If it's a weight day, it's 4:50. If it's a cardio day, it's 5. I don't think about it. I've taken that out of the equation. I know the clothes I'm going to wear. That's already laid out. I don't have to think about it. My shoes are already untied. My socks are already waiting for me. I don't have to think about it. And when I'm back, I know what I'm going to eat. We can make fun of me for that if you want to. But then I know what my morning routine, I know what my day routine, and I'm not a robot. But I know at 5 o'clock, the reason I do a lot of those things is because if I didn't do it in the morning, it goes back to everything you say yes to, you say no to something else. So if I'm not working out in the morning when my family's sleeping, guess who gets their time taken away at 5:30? So I'm going to have to go for that run or lift weights after work. So now I don't get to go pick up our daughter or our son or spend time with Jenny. We don't get to do those things because I didn't do it. That's on you. That is self-management. It's the same thing with having meals and going out to walk at night. If we don't do those, our family doesn't see it. So I don't know, man. That's the way I look at these things. And I didn't used to be that way. I used to make the excuses of, I don't have time. That doesn't work for me. I'm too busy. All the stuff that we hear. If you stop believing what you tell yourself, well, there's 2 ways of that. If you stop believing your excuses, your life will get a lot better. If you start believing that you can be that person, your life will get a lot better. I promise you that. That's part of self-management. That's all it is.
Yeah. A couple things with, personal self-management that you just touched on. For everybody on here that's listening, create those non-negotiable routines. Whatever those are for you, it doesn't have to be what is for me and Brent. But whatever those non-negotiable routines are for your morning and your evening, write them down. Like, create a routine for them. and then just stay physically disciplined. Brent just talked about it's a run day or a weight day. And my physically disciplined every single day is 10,000 steps. It's a non-negotiable for me, but whatever it is for you, it looks different for every single person. It's just really important for yourself to have those personal self-management checklists, I like to say, so that, because it's not always easy. It's simple. What Brent just described is very simple. Like it makes sense, but it's not always easy to do every single day. You really have to work out at it and make it a routine so that it is like brushing your teeth and you don't even think about it at night. It's just something that you do. It's just, it takes a process to get there at times. But if you can just at least create those two things for yourself, of those non-negotiables, and then something to be physically disciplined, because that is going to keep your energy up throughout your life, throughout your day, throughout your week, throughout your month. And we need to protect that. We need to protect our energy, not our time. Because we can't necessarily protect time at times. Just things happen, reactive situations happen, fires happen, but we can protect our energy, and doing so, we are living our most optimized life that we can live. So just a couple
When
of
you say keep that on, I talk about listen to Instagram like so many of us do. I saw a video with Kobe Bryant once, and I can't quote him to a T, but the concept of what he was saying is they lost the NBA championship the year before. And he was asked, what are you going to do? And he's, well, the work starts tomorrow. And they asked him how he was going to do it. And he said, I wrote the contract with myself. And once that contract is written, I don't break the contract. So over the summer, it's a consistent and a constant thing. And that hit me so hard, because and whatever it is in your life, like Jenny talks about physical ways to do things, guess what happens when you walk your 10,000 steps, or you do cardio days, weight days, and you start to feel better and look better and just everything that goes with it? You start to gain confidence. And with confidence becomes everything else. And that's what you're creating. It's a muscle that you're creating. And that's where I tell you, self-management comes into play. When you write that contract with yourself and you no longer break it. I was literally just on a call today, and the guy said, I got an online fitness coach. And he says, I got up this morning, I didn't want to, at 5:20, and I was halfway through my workout. And he goes, I could have just wrote down the numbers, and my trainer wouldn't have known. And he said, I didn't do it though. And to me, that's a win. Like right there, he created the habit of not letting himself off the hook, because numbers don't lie, people do. And if he would have let himself off the hook, he even said, the trainer wouldn't have known it, but I would have known it. And that goes back to what Jenny said about the contract, and just writing that with yourself. That's part of self-management. All these things lead into the greater good of helping you become your version of what you want success to look like, because mine is different than yours. So again, take away from this, and you can follow us on obviously the podcast, our website, yourlimitlesscoach.com. Reach out to us about coaching. We're not hard to find. LinkedIn, Instagram, everywhere else. But this is the stuff that we will help you with. And it's not all just go run through a wall. I do have a soft side as well, just so you know. But this is the stuff we help you with, because self-management it leads into every single thing that we do every day. It just does. So, yeah. I love it. Thank you for being on here and listening to this. I truly do appreciate it when you implement the things that we've talked about. And I would encourage you to go back and listen to this and stop at times, like when Jenny was talking about the time tracker, right? Or planning or batching, or all those things that we can do throughout the day. It will enhance your business. or you can listen to this and just go on to the next thing. That's up to you. Just depends on what you want to do and what you want your life and business to look like. So anything to add, Mrs. Widman, at all?
Just it's a work in progress for all of us. And no one's mastered self-management. Life happens to us and events happen to us and the unthinkable can happen to us. And it's like day by day, we just got to keep getting better and better.
I agree. This is stuff we talk about in here is stuff that we have developed over time. We weren't born this, like I wasn't born this way. Jenny wasn't born this way. It's just stuff that you develop, and people that have helped us over the years do the same thing, but it's also playing the games or things you see or read or listen to or what have you. It's just the act of actually putting it into play as well. So thank you again. Subscribe, follow, all the stuff. We try to make it as tangible as possible that you can take things away from this and actually, because like Jenny said, we are practitioners first and we are coaches, speakers, trainers second. We will not ask you to do something that we're not doing. So follow us. We love you. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Thanks for joining us on the Your Limitless Leadership Podcast with Jenny and Brent Widman. We hope today's conversation inspired you to think differently about leadership, not just in your career, but in every part of your life. Remember, leadership starts with leading yourself first. It's about taking action, making bold decisions, and showing up with purpose. Now, it's time to take what you've heard today and put it into practice. Whether it's in your business, your community, your family, or your own personal growth, start leading without limits. You have the power to become the leader you're meant to be. Until next time, keep pushing your boundaries and leading with purpose.